This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by the North Law Firm. For car accidents and negligent security cases, call Joe at 239-337-1191. And by Lee Health.
Welcome back, Southwest Florida. We are here in Punta Gorda, Florida, and at this fabulous museum. And without further ado, we get a chance to talk to Jaha Cummings, City Councilman, District 1. Good to get you here on the show, man.
Thank you.
I will say at the outset that people who are watching this show all over the region, and I know it's more to you than that, but they can't help but notice, wow, we got a African-American city councilman in Punta Gorda. I know when I first met you, I told you I was surprised to know that. And I pretty much know everything going on around here. So now there's no more secret, but has anybody else said that to you as well?
I mean, if they're not from here,
Right.
yes, but this city was actually for African Americans helped incorporate the city from its very beginning. So from the very beginnings of the city, African Americans were an integral part of the creation of the city, literally creating the city from even before its creation. So for us, it's normal. For maybe outside of here, it's not normal.
And I know why they don't know it, because on this particular show, we have not had an African-American city council person from Punta Gorda. So until you appear on this show,
Yes.
nobody knows.
All right.
I got that little plug in, man. It's so cool to get you here.
Thank you.
And we're sitting in a museum that I'm sure that you are very passionate about, because your mother is passionate about it.
Yes.
From the early days of this particular museum and you knowing what was going on, what kind of role did you play in it?
Well, actually, my grandmother, before the museum existed, she actually had an exhibit at the train depot. We actually have an historic train depot. So she was doing a revolving exhibit. And so that, I guess, is the genesis of seeing that go to a building, to a museum. And then I've been involved with my mother. She does a lot of national museum director type things, so I travel with her to the Smithsonian and things like that. So just been involved with that. And then also from the standpoint of lobbying, if I go to Tallahassee, I'm definitely lobbying on behalf of the African American Museum Network to make sure that the network in Florida gets money as well.
I know when I first met you and your mom, you were together. My mom is back in Birmingham, and I was just like, man, it must be so cool to be able to move around with your mom like that. The city council, how long have you been a member of the city council now?
This is my second year.
The second year. What do you like about that job, and what do you not like about that job?
What I like is that I'm able to facilitate things for people. I would say more than anything, the role is actually allows me to put people together who normally wouldn't get together, and I can actually act on behalf in a manner they may not be able to. And so, I mean, like example, something we did recently, about 10 years ago, the African American part of the historic district was separated out of the city. And so we were able to put it back together. And so now we have a reunified historic district, and this is the kind of thing you're able to do. We organize residents. We now have a homeowners association. So this is something like something like that, like creating a homeowners association for those historic districts. Never existed before, but this stature allowed me to organize people in a way that may be harder to do if residents who didn't have this role were able to do it.
And that has a lot to do with consciousness and diversity and awareness. You bring that to bear in your deliberation as a city councilman. You never forget about those other things that are important to our diverse community.
Right.
Expound.
Basically, coming with this heritage and being here really since our family been here since the 1880s, there, to me, a sense of responsibility of making sure that this city is here another 100 years from now. So decisions I make also, I have to think 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, what's this going to impact on? Not just maybe meeting some temporary political need. I got to think about what the long-term impact on the population is going to be.
What down the road in an ideal world, some things that you guys, like maybe 2 things that people may be surprised or just should know that the city council is really, and the city government is considering with the city of Punta Gorda?
Part of it is the full revitalization of the historic district. We had a major hurricane, 2004 Hurricane Charlie, which really devastated the area. And we've recovered from it. It looks beautiful, but we also have a lot of vacant lots that used to be business. And part of it is actually restoring the commercial activity to our downtown, because right now our commercial residential ratio is very skewed. We only have 5% commercial, which means we actually bring in less tax money than we need to pay for services. We're doing it. So we've got to right that. So part of it is actually bringing our downtown back to the capacity it used to be, let's say before the storm. And so that's one of our goals.
Now, how are you guys in terms of affordable housing here in Punta Gorda?
Not so affordable housing. Well, this is actually I work with Together Charlotte, which is with the Human Services Department, Public Health, and we're actually working now specifically on affordable housing. So we're expect by this summer, by August, to actually have new language that the city and the county can implement and into our land use code, specifically to address allowing for more affordable housing. So we're trying to really get on this. It's very important.
Now, we're sitting in a historic district.
Yes.
By this being designated as a historic district, what are some of the benefits pertaining thereto?
Well, one, we're asking, part of the other question, we're in a renewal of emphasizing that. So we're looking at having sign toppers again and ornamental lights, all those things. So living in this district, one, having a very beautiful neighborhood, putting new brick pavers down the but also depending on what part of the district you're in, there actually are even architectural rules that, like in the National Registry part, which is on that side of 41, your house actually has to have one of the specific vernacular styles. This side is encouraged, so one thing we are working to do is that with new residential housing on this side, to make sure that like on the west side of the historic district, that we also are also building within that same architectural framework.
What's the geographical boundaries for District 1?
It goes from Cooper Street, which is right here, right to the east of the hospital, down to Fishman's Village, waterfront, down to Henry Street. So it's the CRA area, actually.
Now, for you to be elected from District 1, you had to carry a diverse set of voters. This is you just.
Yes, this is the most diverse
you're
district.
Like Barack Obama, you had to carry the white vote
without
for all
doubt.
practical purposes.
Without doubt.
And that says something too, I would assume. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, one is, if we embody who we actually are as Punta Gorda, Punta Gorda came from swamps and alligators, and we had to, also a fisherwoman, and we had to pull together. And so as long as we stay with the understanding that we can't get there, if we're not together, we're fine. It's only when we buy into these other ideas. And Punta Gorda, especially even during the height of Jim Crow, had a consciousness of necessary togetherness. I mean, even until, to be honest, up until the 30s, probably the wealthiest man in this town, African-American man. And he would actually ensure that his workers all had an equal opportunity employment, I mean, in terms of pay and all that. So I think if we keep with our heritage as Punta Gorda, we're okay with that. It's when we get outside of that is where we're going to be problematic.
How would you describe race relations in general in Punta Gorda?
I'd say they're good. I will say that I do think we had about a 10-year little funny thing. I mean, part of the impetus behind why we had to reunify the historic district is because I actually had some elders actually say that we were more integrated in Jim Crow than we are right now, because we had some outside people kind of break part of the historic June too. And so we are trying to put back together the kind of unity which we had. I mean, we have it, but we need to actually put it more together. It's, it's a little bit academic now. We need to make it more actual.
The students.
Yes.
Have you gotten a chance to talk to some of the students, particularly students who see you as a role model, and how are they reacting to you, particularly black students who get to see you?
Pretty good. I'm actually on the board of the Cooper Street Recreation Center, and it's a center.
That's great.
Which, wearable kids, and actually with that note, my mother and I have a program called the New Image Project, which initially started out for children who had behavioral problems and putting a new peer group together with high school kids, but now we expanded it to career exploration. So now we have career assessment testing and counseling to help kids pretty much see what their capacities are, so they'll know maybe what potential they can go. And so part of it is actually putting together a group of adults who are in different career aspects, so we can actually show the kids, pretty much these are particular paths you can take, and these are the steps you can take, and to include college prep, vocational, just the pieces to help our kids get that way. Because right now, we have a 700 to 1 student to guidance counselor ratio right now in Charlotte County, which means adults in addition to counselors have to be involved with the young people's lives and make sure that they're able to visualize what their future is going to be like and make the right choices. Now,
you said with a lot of pride that, hey, Punta Gorda is the only city in Charlotte County.
Yes.
And you said that with a lot of pride because that means what to the average person?
Well, it means that you
control more?
It's not even like that. It's just that because we're the only city and we embody this historical identity, we kind of color the water in general. And so as long as we, I guess, appreciate our status in that regard and do not take that for granted, then the county will benefit from it. It's like if we were to leave that path, then everyone would be jeopardized. So it's one of, it comes to both at the same time.
How did you come about politics?
I had been an advisor for senator before for years, but I came back here. I mean, I was in the game, but I wasn't never going to sit in the seat. When I was a little kid, I had certain aspirations, and that kind of went away in my mind. But coming back here, my predecessor, we were just talking through different things, and we talked about it, and she asked me if I'd run in her seat. And I've kind of put, I don't know, I thought through it, and also my grandmother was extremely involved in the community, my mother as well, and I realized that I actually had a base. And I realized that if I was in that seat, I could actually facilitate things for that base, and so it worked out.
You are, you know, I read up on you and I had a chance to talk to you, but you really traveled, the world traveler. That exposure that you've gotten from traveling around the world and seeing different cultures and things of that nature, how does that help you in terms of what you do right here in Punta Gorda?
Part of it was problem solving. Places I've lived have had real problems like tsunamis, earthquakes, strikes, revolution, madness. And so when I see problems, emotionally they don't trip me out in a way that would trip someone else out. I can just take a breath and say, all right, how can we actually address this? Because this is not like, you know, a nuclear reactor melting down. This is just something like that. That's also, I've seen a whole lot of best practices in a whole lot of places. And so I have a lot to pull from of things that may or may not work. And so I have a good basket to pull from.
Before we let you go, I want people to know you're also an author.
Oh, yeah.
Renowned author. Tell us some of your writings and how people can get it.
Well, I would say to be even more than that, I'm actually a publisher. Mm-hmm. And I would say what I'm probably more proud of would be I'm the only American publisher at the Venice International Film Festival. And actually, I'm bringing some of my mother's books to Venice. I'm actually going to be in Venice in August, and pretty much the Venice Film Festival, it brings things like the Talented Mr. Ripley, or the Danish Girl, or the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, you know, the literary types. And so I've made a focus in my publishing to focus on books with film adaptations. So I'm really hoping to really work with more self-published sort of authors and see if we can get some movies made off of ours. So that's kind of where my energy on that regard is going.
My man, I've really enjoyed sitting here with you on camera and off camera. I just know you have an extremely bright future to continue, even though you've already led a life of Riley already, man. You've done well.
Thank you.
Look forward to getting you back on the show in the future, okay?
I appreciate that.
Stay right there. The saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Councilman Cummings who are doing it. We'll be right back with more Lee Pitts Live. Hey, this is Lee Pitts, the host of Lee Pitts Live, right here on Fox 4. Glad you checked us out here on YouTube. You want to not miss any of our shows, so we encourage you to subscribe by clicking that red button at the bottom there, and all our Lee Pitts Live shows will come directly to you, conveniently located.